Something that came to my mind today, this morning, was the idea of giving up, of throwing in the towel on something that's important to you. The idea of saying, you know what, whatever, fuck it. I'm going to just focus on what I've been focused on for this amount of time. I'm going to give up on this extra idea that I've been giving so much attention to. I'm just going to do my thing and not worry about this, even though the reason I was worrying and working on it to begin with was something important. First of all, we've all been there. Most of us have given up at some point on something that was important, and afterwards face the backlash from it, right? We've all done that. Nobody's perfect. I know I've done it. For instance, I gave up on wrestling and sports and football whenever I was in school. I got comfortable. I didn't like the discomfort of the wrestling at the time. Same thing with football. I fell out of love with the process. I never had an extreme love for the sport, but I fell out of the process of being in that exhilaration of being out of my comfort zone. I had a girlfriend and I just didn't care. I was ready to be free and out there as a teenager doing whatever I pleased. Right? I gave up on it because I wanted to have more fun, essentially. Right? And I carry that with me to this day. Like, it's something nowadays. I've redirected that, and I would say regrets, but I don't like to have any sort of idea of regret nowadays. I've turned that idea that, like, man, why did I do that, into I'll never fucking quit something important again. Right? I've turned around and turned it into pressure. But that was a process, and it came with pain. It came with regret, like I said originally. Right? And there's been other things as well. But we all make the mistake at times of something on my shirt looks like, of giving up on things that are important. And this leads to serious backlash at times, depending on the severity of what it is we give up on. Not only does it lead to backlash in the form of regret, but it also says something about our character. Our character takes a hit. Our sense of self takes a hit. Like, let's say you start striving for a goal. You start going after it, and you say, this is why I'm doing it, right? It is important to me because of this, this, and this. For instance, let's say you're accomplished financially, and you have a family, but you have issues in your family, just like everybody. But let's say there is an extreme lack of cohesion within your family. And so you want to fix that. Part of you wants to fix that. It got to the point it is, however it did, a lack of care on both sides. And you're like, something strikes you. You see a great looking family doing their thing, or something, tragedy strikes. And you realize how you guys are not together. You say, you know what? I want to change this. I want to make this difference. I want to be someone with a great family. And I want my family to love me, and our family to have a amazing impact on the world and one another. And so you start making a difference. You start making changes to your habits, to the way you look at your family, to the way you communicate. And in that process, you're slowly bettering the relationship. At first, everybody's adverse to it except you. You're like putting everybody out of their comfort zone. You're like, hey guys, let's go do this, let's go do that. You're leading your family in the right direction. And they're not used to following you, maybe. Or they're not used to following you to do these certain things. So they're a little bit in discomfort. And so it's hard. There's arguments. There's a little bit of bickering and fighting. But you know in the back of your mind the point of it. You know the purpose. You know why you're doing it. And you see the outcome. You see the goal. So in this process of going into that discomfort, of forcing everybody into this discomfort for the right reason, it solidifies it to a degree. You say, I'm going to make this happen. All right? And you keep going, And then one day, maybe another tragedy strikes, or, something happens that just throws you off your game. Right? It would at that point, it would probably be some sort of other tragedy or large adversity. And it's just at that point your frame of concept is redirected to this big adversity, and so you're like, you know what, that's main why I can't even focus on my family anymore. I can't even focus on this endeavor that I was previously invested in, that was so important to me. And you halt, you stop. Maybe with the new idea of going away from it, it even creates adversity within it. Like maybe your kids or your family, your wife, whatever, has gotten used to you being this person who wants to create the family bonds, and she started to develop that within herself as well, and she starts to do the same thing. And then this new adversity comes, you kind of back off, and she's still pushing, and then y'all end up getting in a fight. And then because of the pressure of the situation, the pain, y'all get in a really big fight. And you say something, you guys go back and forth, and it ends up much worse than it was a few moments before. Simply because part of you has said, I'm focused on this, not that, right? And then you continue to not be focused on this, right? We all make mistakes. We all take back steps at times. Life is painful, so things come and they distract us, right? And so it's that process of getting back on track that makes the difference in whatever it is we do. But let's say you don't ever get back on track, right? For the sake of what we're talking about here. Let's say y'all have this fight amidst the craziness of this other adversity. And slowly but surely what you were building kind of comes crumbling down in certain ways. You and your wife's relationship, you and your husband's relationship has faltered in so many ways. So then maybe it plays into you and your kids' relationships. And you're no longer this fun person who wants to create this family environment, right? Here you are, you were leading for so long, you created great followers and leading followers out of your followers, people who are wanting to strive for the same mission, and then their leader just gave up on them, right? And you never come back. You say, I'm gone. This adversity's too strong. I'm leaving. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not worried about you guys. I'm not worried about that. And you give up. What does that say? What are you saying to yourself in those moments? How do you think your mind processes an action like that? How do you think your soul processes an action like that? How do you think your family processes that? Those are the kind of painstaking actions that destroy families and bonds, that send relationships down the gutter of everlasting pain. To heal pain like that, it's not easy. But people do it every day. People go through issues, and because of their own egotistical way of believing, they make it all about themselves, and they give up on the important things in their life. Especially if it's a habitual pattern. Especially if you've been a quitter for a long time. Just like I said earlier, I could have 100% been a habitual quitter. But it was the pain, it was the regret that I kept in my mind for a long time of quitting sports that I forced to become pressure. I pressurized it and allowed it to make me a greater human being. It allowed me to see life in more of a way that I wanted to see it. Say, you know what, I'm never going to fucking be like that again. I will die before I quit on something that is important to me. Alright? That's the kind of conviction that is required to be fully involved in something, to take it to the highest level. And if you start down the path and you give up, and you never go back, and you never redirect that pain, the pain just stays right there, it'll slowly kill you. It'll destroy the relationship Not only relationships on the outside of the world that it pertains to, but more than anything, it will destroy your relationship with yourself. Your level of self-respect will drop. And you won't even know yourself in a year's time. Because you see, when we give up on things that are important to us, like extremely important to us, a part of it is giving up on ourselves. It's giving up on who we know ourselves to be, on who we know we would like to be. It's as if we're turning back and running back to the boat to sail back offshore when all the other soldiers are out fighting. The rest of you is out there, and you're turning around leaving. The head of the mission, the commander-in-chief, he's gone. He's given up. All the other soldiers are out there fighting. So all the other soldiers, that being your soul, your body, your mind, your respect, there's a disconnect between your choices and that respect for yourself. And this is exemplified by a lot of people. People make examples out of this nowadays, very much so. The people who are full of pain from very young ages, and it plays into their adult life, where they're still acting out as a child, or they're still acting out their shadow ways, their egotistical ways. At some point, they were in a growth process. Well, we're always in a growth process, but at some point, they're in their growth process. They saw a light. They saw something greater than them. They saw a mission that they could really pursue to become their absolute best self. But something happened. Tragedy struck. Adversity struck. And they slowed down. They stopped completely, and they turned the opposite way. They headed home. And they gave up on part of themselves. Therefore, their self-respect dropped. That's when you see them start picking up the bad habits. They become an awful drinker. They become an awful eater. They become an awful smoker. Maybe they take it as far to become a junkie of some kind, getting on the worst drugs you can. Simply because of misguided energy, of giving up on the things that was important to themselves, of seeing the shining light and shutting the door and going the opposite way towards the darkness. I hope this helps. I hope you got something from this today. I hope that maybe you haven't had such an experience like this before, where you've given up on something important, but you've seen someone else do it. You've seen someone else go through this pain that we're talking about here. And with the help of this video, you know even more so what happened and how you will never allow this to happen in your life. And if it ever comes close to happening, you can get back on track and not continue down the path of giving up on something that's a why for you. Giving up on yourself. So as always, guys, let's keep doing it. Keep that self-respect high. Respect yourself. Do what's right for yourself. Love the world. Love your family. And just live a life of fulfillment and purpose, man. You deserve it. The world deserves it. Your family deserves it. I love you guys. Let's fucking do this shit. Go have a great day. Let's do it.